Yo, why are you getting so much hate, man?
I don't know, man. I've tried my best.
The last main game that I actually completed was Pokemon Ruby, right? That was many moons ago, way before I even had a kid. But Pokemon Legends ZA? ZA? I don't mess this up. But yeah, Pokemon Legends ZA/ZA pulled me back in, and I actually truly love this game. I want to talk about 10 things I love about Pokemon ZA. ZA? ZA. Okay, let's go with ZA from now on. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself in the next video. And because nothing's perfect, I also want to talk about the tiny little things that, you know, grinds my gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Okay, before we get into the list, I do want to let everybody know that there will be spoilers because it's really difficult to do this kind of videos without actually spoiling anything. So just a quick heads up for those of you who are watching. So let's get to the list. Alright, we're gonna start with number 1, and it is the battle system. So when I loaded into the game, I was not expecting kind of like a free-for-all. I don't know how to call this, but it's no longer a turn-based game. Do I love it? I do. If you're a purist, you prefer the turn-based game because it's more strategic for you, I don't know. That's fine too. Like I respect that completely. But for me, for somebody who has played through Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Fire Red, blah blah, the list goes on and on. It has always been the same system. You go first, or your opponent goes first, then you go. But it's not in Pokemon ZA. It's just spamming buttons. You press X, you wait for the thing to cool down. Meanwhile, you can press Y. Of course, there's a little bit of delay between each attack, which makes it a little bit more realistic, I guess. It's not like you can spam every move and then you hit all your moves at one go without your opponent hitting you back. I really enjoy the new battle system. And here's something that I thought was pretty cool. I didn't know this at first. During battle, there are weird symbols that come out. I only first noticed the symbols when I was fighting a ghost type and my normal type moves had an X on it. So it still lets you trigger it, but you will do 0 damage to the ghost Pokemon. I started noticing the other symbols. So did you know that these symbols mean these things? So the symbols goes as follows. Triangle means it's not very effective. Circle means like normal effectiveness, 1 times damage. And then circles with a smaller circle in it is super effective. And then last but not least, of course, X, the one that I realized first, is definitely not effective at all, or rather it doesn't affect the Pokemon at all. So did you know that? I didn't until I noticed the X, but if you noticed it already, comment down below. How far along did you go before you discovered those symbols? Now, as mentioned, I'm still going to talk about some minor flaws that I personally don't like. So now, what I don't like about the battle system is when you're in a wild zone and you're battling a wild Pokemon, sometimes you get swarmed by 2, 3, 5, and then an alpha attacks you out of nowhere. You are trying to lock in to a Pokemon, right? Yes, and I know you can use the right stick to switch between Pokemon, and that's fine, that's fair. But God, oh God, why do you lock in to the things that you need to break? So the boulders, the tree barks, whatever they are, sometimes it's other things. Why does it lock into those when I'm in the middle of battle? I honestly, I feel like it's just a patching issue. I really hope it is not a permanent feature in the game because that is a little bit annoying. Everything else I like. So yeah, so that's one thing that I feel like could be done better. Maybe it might go away in the next patch, I don't know. But if you guys have any suggestions on how to deal with that, or if I'm just a noob as my title suggests, please comment down below how I can better handle that. Okay, moving on to number 2. The exploration is fun. Hear me out. I've seen some videos, I've watched some videos how certain people didn't really enjoy the fact that your character was stuck in one town and everywhere looks the same. But to be honest, when you play the old games, yes, there are other towns. There's Peloton, there's Viridian, and then there's Cinnabar Island, there's Celadon, blah blah blah. But aren't they the same? Isn't Celadon the same as Peloton, just with different NPCs? So I get why they decided to just contain everything in one town. The town is huge. I do use fast travel a lot, but you gotta unlock the fast travel points first before you can actually fast travel to certain places. Okay, so while we're on the topic of exploration, this is something I really dislike, okay? It grinds my gears so much. Maybe it's me, maybe it's my fat thumbs, maybe I'm just was not that great at navigating my character. But do you know the parts where it looks like a scaffolding and you are climbing up the scaffolding and then they give you a plank? They give you a very tiny plank. The amount of times I've dropped off these planks and got frustrated was unimaginable, alright? I didn't even trigger B, alright? My character wasn't even sprinting. He was just going at a normal pace and I still couldn't really walk the plank. So once again, it could be a UI thing or it could be a feature. So this is one thing that I didn't really like about exploration. Man, this was... Alright, moving on. So number 3. Okay, granted, I haven't finished the game yet. I don't know how long I'm gonna take to finish the game. The storyline so far is pretty enjoyable. Now, what I don't really love about the storyline is so many dialogues. So many dialogue. It's just cutscenes after cutscenes after dialogue after dialogue. It's just too much. Alright, I do feel like they could have cut down on a lot of dialogue, a lot of cutscenes and whatnot. So yeah. Alright, next point. Point 4. Pokemon, the sheer amount of it. I like how many Pokemon you encounter within the first 2 hours of the gameplay. Is it a cop-out? Is it too easy? I don't think so. Like, I enjoy it. The game gives you Pikachu at like level 7. So what you gonna do? Catch it. And catching Pokemon is pretty easy. Things are so much easier now. And I'm never one to complain if the game is easy. So what's the thing that grinds my gear about having a lot of Pokemon to catch in the game? Well, none. So... I thoroughly enjoy the fact that there's so many Pokemon for you to choose from. No complaints. I love it. Moving on. Number 5. Level progression. I love that EXP is shared between your party of 6. Unless they're fainted, which is fair. It's been so easy to catch up my Pokemon levels. And on top of that, game drops you a lot of EXP items. So progression is really, really easy. Really, really fast. And I have absolutely no qualms about that. Like I said, I'm a fan of easy. The easier the better. And that is a quality of life improvement. That is one more thing that has nothing that I dislike. Similarly to point 4, I got no complaints about progression. So we can move on to item 6.
Hello there.
Okay, now we can't be at item 6 without talking about something that's maybe a hot take, maybe not. I don't know, alright? But Switch 1 versus Switch 2. What I meant by that is I bought the Switch 2 version. I have a Switch 1. I feel like I don't need a Switch 2. Okay, hear me out. So the difference between the Switch 1 cartridge and the Switch 2 is actually 10 Singapore dollars. I'm not sure how much better the graphics are. I think if you dock your Switch 2, you get up to 4K, but if it's a Switch 1, you can only get up to 1080p, which I've been streaming it at and playing it at, and I got no complaints. Like, I love the fact that Switch 2 games are backwards compatible with Switch 1. If you put a Switch 2 cartridge into a Switch 1, all you get is just Switch 1 graphics. There's no compromise. Some people told me, oh, your game is gonna lag, your game is gonna this, your game is gonna that. I've experienced zero of that. Everything has been smooth. Like, none of my viewers have told me that, oh, something's weird here, something's weird there. So yeah, that's something I love. Like about Switch 1 and Switch 2, it's the backwards compatibility of it. Okay, now this was $90. 90 Singapore dollars. 89.90 to be exact. Yowza. There's nothing really much to say about that, right? It is what it is. It's how games are priced now. Could it be a bit cheaper? Personally, I feel like this could be a 69.90 game. But hey, I've bought it. I enjoy it. So let's move on to item 7. Items everywhere. You get an item, you get an item, you get an item, everybody gets items. Okay, the game makes it very easy for you to get money, to get items, to stock up on everything. The items you get are everywhere. You can easily stock up on everything just by walking around town, which brings me to what grinds my gears. I find myself having so much money that I don't even know what to spend on, because every single time I look in my inventory, I'm stocked up. And then I look at my money, I'm stocked up. Maybe I haven't reached the point where I have to spend a lot of money yet. But so far, I haven't needed to spend much money at all. So I would personally like it if the game could do with managing your money a little bit harder. You gotta make sure things are more expensive to buy. You don't get so much money. So that's just a small little thing that I have a gripe with. I don't know. This is one of those that I feel like it could be a bit harder. Alright, we're reaching the end. This is point 8. Oh my god, trading! As someone who only came from the old games, I really do appreciate that you still had to trade to evolve certain Pokemon. And I do really like it that they make it where you can trade with people from far away. They give you the option online. You just enter a code of that particular Pokemon. So if you're a Haunter, this is the code. You can just Google the codes. It just searches for a person who's also looking to trade a Haunter. Bob's your uncle, you get a Haunter trade, and then the Haunter immediately evolves into a Gengar. But what I'm not for is, it is kind of hidden behind a paywall. You do have to be a Nintendo online subscriber to be able to access their ecosystem. So I actually signed up for a free trial. They have a 7-day trial, so make use of that and then decide whether you want to continue. That's something that grinds my gears, but it's not that bad. Okay, number 9. TMs are reusable? What sorcery is this? Okay. Like I said, I came from the olden times. When I found out that TMs were reusable, I was like a kid that just entered a candy store. It's like, I take you to the candy shop. So many new things and so many quality of life improvements. I really couldn't believe it, and could have already been implemented in Scarlet and Violet, and I'm just a noob and I don't know. But you know when you play something and you get surprised by it and then it's a good surprise? That actually gave me that feeling. So that actually segues me into point number 10, which is I feel like a kid again. Like, genuinely, I haven't had that much surprise in a game for a very, very long time. Enough quality of life improvements, coupled with them keeping all the nostalgic factors, these nuances that brings you back to when you were a kid again. As someone who's pushing 40 with a very young kid, I really, really love it because it's so easy to play and I don't need to stress over what to do and what not to do. And yeah, so point 9 and point 10, they kind of interlinked in a sense. And once again, I don't have anything bad to say about these two because look, isn't it great to feel like a kid again? So yeah, those are the 10 things I love about Pokemon ZA. And if you're like me, a normie or an oldie trying to rediscover this franchise, rediscover Pokemon, I honestly think that this is the perfect game for you to start with. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!